At the dawn of a new century, the United States stood on the edge of transformation. Industry was accelerating. Electricity was reshaping daily life. And optimism about the future filled the air. In the summer of 1901, one city was chosen to showcase that promise to the world. Buffalo, New York. Here, along the shores of Lake Erie, the Pan-American Exposition opened its gates, an ambitious celebration of progress, culture, and the rising influence of the Americas. Buffalo was no ordinary host city. It was a gateway between the Atlantic world and the American interior, a hub of commerce, manufacturing, and transportation. Rail lines converged here. Great ships passed through its harbor. And nearby, the immense power of Niagara Falls symbolized nature harnessed by human ingenuity. Organizers believed Buffalo embodied the spirit of the new century, bold, modern, and forward-looking. The Pan-American Exposition was designed not merely as an exhibition, but as a statement that the future had arrived. The exposition grounds were carefully planned to impress and inspire. Grand avenues led visitors toward a central focal point, the Electric Tower. Rising high above the grounds, it represented technological mastery and human ambition. By day, it dominated the skyline. By night, it became something never before seen on such a scale. Buildings throughout the exposition were illuminated by thousands of electric lights, transforming darkness into spectacle. Water features shimmered. Towers glowed. Reflections danced across canals and pools. For many visitors, this was their first experience of a world so brilliantly lit after sunset. The Pan-American Exposition brought together nations from across the Western Hemisphere. Exhibits showcased art, agriculture, industry, and culture from North, Central, and South America. Visitors wandered through national pavilions filled with handcrafted goods, machinery, and displays of local tradition. Music drifted through the grounds. Flags waved from towers and colonnades. The atmosphere was one of wonder and discovery. It was a fair designed not only to display achievement, but to foster unity among the nations of the New World. The architecture of the exposition blended classical forms with imaginative flair. Domes, arches, and colonnades lined the walkways. Decorative sculpture adorned facades. Bright colors replaced the stark white common to earlier World's fairs, giving the exposition a warmer, more inviting character. Water played a central role in the design. Fountains surged upward in rhythmic display. Canals reflected the glowing lights of surrounding buildings. At night, the entire ground seemed alive, an orchestration of motion, color, and light. The exposition was not merely seen. It was experienced, powered largely by hydroelectric energy. The exposition demonstrated how technology could transform cities, industry, and daily life. Electric lighting, motors, and displays filled the grounds, offering visitors a glimpse of a future shaped by innovation. The Electric Tower stood as a beacon of this promise, a symbol of progress rising above the exposition like a lighthouse for the modern age. For many who attended, the sights of the Pan-American Exposition reshaped their understanding of what was possible. Beyond the grand courts and exhibition halls lay the Midway. Here, visitors found amusement and spectacle, rides, performances, exotic displays, and popular entertainments of the era. The Midway offered excitement and diversion, balancing the exposition's lofty ideals with lively attraction. Laughter, music, and movement filled the air, reminding visitors that the fair was also a place of joy. In September of 1901, President William McKinley arrived at the exposition. McKinley had been a strong supporter of American industry and progress, and his presence underscored the national importance of the event. Crowds gathered eagerly to see the president as he moved through the grounds, greeting visitors and dignitaries. The exposition stood at its peak, crowded, vibrant, and filled with optimism, but, on September 6th, during a public reception at the Temple of Music, tragedy struck. President McKinley was shot by an assassin while greeting members of the public. The joyful atmosphere of the exposition was instantly shattered. News spread rapidly through the grounds and beyond. Vigils replaced celebrations. Hope turned to uncertainty. 8 days later, President McKinley died from his wounds. What had been a symbol of progress and optimism became forever linked with national mourning. Despite the tragedy, the Pan-American Exposition continued through its scheduled closing weeks. Visitors still came, though the mood had changed. The glowing lights and grand architecture remained, but the sense of innocence had been altered. When the exposition finally closed its gates in November of 1901, it left behind powerful memories of beauty, innovation, ambition, and loss. The Pan-American Exposition existed for only a single season. Yet in that brief time, it captured a pivotal moment in history, when a nation stood poised between the old world and the new, confident in its future and proud of its achievements. It was a celebration of human creativity and technological promise, illuminated by electric light and shadowed by tragedy. For a fleeting moment in 1901, Buffalo became the stage upon which the future was unveiled.